All right, you might be asking yourself, Chef Jeff, why are you outside? You grilling? Nope. Today, we're making a seesaw. If you've got young kids or maybe some grandkids, my granddaughter asked me to make this for you. Shout out to Sienna, thank you very much. Great idea, but it's really easy. Not a lot of supplies or parts. Very, very simple to make. I'm gonna kind of tell you the sizes that I'm cutting for everything. And I'm not good at putting stuff up on the screen. I might remember to put it in the description, but anyway, if you want to build something like this, check out this video. It's really easy, probably just a couple hours. It is hot outside, so I got my shade up. Best thing about it, I get to use my new ramp, wheel out my chop saw. So if you want to know how I built that, check out that video. But let me bring you in and show you all of the supplies, parts, tools that I'm going to use. I am using a chop saw, but you could easily do this with a skill saw if that's all you got. But let me go ahead and show you what I got. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to use my drill. I might need a sander. I'm not really sure if I'm going to use that. I've got my planer so I can kind of round off some of these edges for the seat. If you have a router, you might use that. I've got some paddle bits. I'll show you. I think that's what those are called. I'm going to use that when I have to secure everything with the bolt. This is a 3/8 by 10-inch bolt. Of course, I've got a couple washers and a nut to hold that on. Of course, I'll show you where that goes. Now, I had these from something previously that I had. These are actually going to be the handles, and I'm going to have to get a hole saw that is a 1 1/4 inch so I can put this through. I'm going to sand these up and clean them up a little bit. Some 3-inch deck screws, safety glasses, tape measure, a pen because I don't like pencil, my right angle, and primarily what I'm using besides these two little dowels for the handles, these are 2x6. I have a couple spare pieces from some other things that I had done, but I did pick up 3 2x6 by 10 foot. The main base of it is going to be these two 10-foot sections. You could probably do it at 8 foot. But you know, once I give you all the measurements, you can do the math and figure out what size you need. But I think I've got more than enough here. But let me go ahead and get some stuff set up. Let me wheel my chop saw out using that brand new ramp that is working out fantastically, and I'll be back. I'll cut some stuff up. All right, so just to start out, you're going to need 2 pieces cut at 36 inches, and you're going to need 4 pieces cut at 24 inches. Now, look, when you see this thing all together, you're going to understand why I'm saying this, but if you're an 1/8 off or something, this isn't precision cabinetry. It doesn't have to be exact. You'll be fine if it's a little bit off, so don't worry about it. If you're using your skill saw and you're not great with it, just roll with it. You'll be fine. Now, 2 of the pieces that are cut at 24, I'm going to just kind of make a little angle on the edge of them, just really more for aesthetics. Doesn't really do anything. Again, you'll see that when it's all put together and done. And once I get a couple pieces cut, I'll go ahead, and this is for the base, by the way. We're building the base of the seesaw right now. And once I get that all done, I'll put everything together and I'll show you how that happens. Again, super simple, so just go ahead and get started. I know I called this a chop saw, you can call it a miter saw, but pretty simple. One down, a few more to go. So I try to measure it and get everything to have as little bit of scrap as I can end up with. Sometimes you just end up with more than you want. Keep it if you want, throw it away. Sometimes I'll just throw it in the fire pit. So measure it out, take your right angle. I don't even know if you can see this on there. I'm not really watching. Draw your line again. I like a pen. I've always hated pencils. Actually used to lose math points in class because I'd use a pen. All right, so I've got my 4 pieces cut at 24. I've got the 2 pieces cut at 36. Now I'm going to cut that angle that I talked about. Now, you don't even have to do this. And just to let you know, this is pressure treated. So if you're gonna make this, if you plan on making this, buy the wood a couple days before. Give it a chance to dry out. But anyway, all I did was I marked up 1 1/2 inch from what will be the bottom, and I marked over 2 inches from what will be the top. And I'm just going to connect those dots. I did the same thing on the opposite side so it's even. And with a miter saw, it's real easy. You can cut 2 at the same time. And I don't know what that angle is going to be, but that's simple. I really didn't do any math to figure that out. It's just kind of what I want. like I said, just for aesthetics. You don't have to do this. All right, so let me walk you through what is going to be the base. You can see here, this is why I cut those off. The seesaw is actually going to be going that way, right? And just so you know, these 2x6x10s, there is a little bit extra. They probably do that in case you have to cut it in sections. So I did cut off the very end. I measured out 10 feet just so it's even, so when I have to find the middle, it's a little bit easier. But let me walk you through a couple things here. And I haven't measured anything yet, but you're going to want everything centered, obviously. So you're going to put this in the center, and what you want here is 4.5 inches in the middle here. I took a couple 2x4s, the 2x6. I know it says 2 inches, but if you've done any kind of woodworking, you know it's not 2 inches. So anyway, this measures out to 4.5 inches. So I'm going to have to get everything centered. I just wanted to show you that. And then I'm going to use some clamps. I've got a few others over here just to keep everything straight and square once I get it measured. And then I'm going to use those 3-inch deck screws to secure everything together. So I don't think I need to walk you through running some screws in there. So I'm just going to get it done, and I'll be back once it's completed. Okay, so just walking you through how I'm doing it. I might be overthinking it, but I've never made this before, so I'm just going off of what I've seen. And since you have to find the middle, I measured it out, I found the middle. I measured it out, I found the middle. Now it's a 4.5 inch space here, so that would be 2 1/4 either side of that line for the edge, the front edge of the 2x6. And by front edge, I mean like that. So what I did is off of the center, I measured 2 1/4 that way, 2 1/4 that way. Same thing on that. So I've already kind of got that in position. Already relatively have that in position. I'll go ahead and put the last 24-inch pieces here and here, and then I will place the 3 scrap pieces in the middle that give me that 4.5 inches, and I will secure it all with my clamps and then screw it in. I might make some mistakes. I've never made this before, but let's make this journey together, see how it comes out. All right, so it's not difficult, just a little time consuming, messing with the clamps and then trying to hold stuff in place when it's just me, but I've got everything lined up. The other thing, I guess I'm using more tools than I thought. T-square, I think that's what this might be called, but make sure everything is squared up, you know. Give me 1 second. You know, if you're working on make sure you're working on a flat surface, as flat as possible. Now the table I've got, it kind of has a bow in it, so I use the end pieces to try and level everything out. And now I'll go ahead and put these here, and I'm just going to get everything screwed together. Once it's done, I'll be back after I get everything screwed in. Alright, so there's the base complete. Next step I think I'm going to go with is putting the through bolt, or whatever it's called, lag bolt, I don't know. Probably right in that area. I'll measure it out and let you guys know what I come up with. I did 2 screws on each on the end here. I did 3 in the middle, and I'm not going to be using this on the concrete, I don't think. I have a yard, so it'll be sitting in the yard. So if it's a little unsteady, I'm not too concerned about that. But overall, pretty happy with the way it's coming out so far. Well, I forgot to hit record on something, so this is kind of going to be an insert. But initially, the way that I drilled out the hole for that bolt that I've got, which is 5/8 by 10 inch, I put these 2 24-inch pieces in here, and then I tried to measure it and make it the same, and I didn't do a good job. So what I did is I took these 2 out, and since there was a hole, and I forgot to mention the 2 pieces that I needed that are 17.5, I went ahead and cut these 24-inch ones down to 17.5 to get rid of that hole, and I cut 2 new pieces, which are these, at 24 inches. I clamped them together and drilled the hole on both sides at one time, and then went ahead and secured them in there. It worked out a lot better for me. So I just want to recap. I've got the 2x6x10, 2 of those, 17.5, 17.5, and as you can see, I've clipped off the edges. 2 dowels measured out at 12 inches. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 measured out at 24 inches, 2 by 6 by 24. And then I've got 1, 2, 2 by 6 at 36. And as you can see, I kind of clipped off the edges there, and this is just the base. That is really just for aesthetics. It doesn't really matter. I'm probably going to come around and sand everything, but I'm not going to do that on video. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there, let you know about the measurements. Definitely using 3-inch wood screws. The bolt 5/8 by 10 inch. Yeah, I think that's about it. But this is that centerpiece. I'm going to secure everything in here. I'll put some screws in there to hold it. All right, I'll be back. I just wanted to recap that piece that I missed so there wasn't any confusion. If you got a question, just let me know. Okay, so these are the two pieces I would mention that I forgot about, which are 17.5, and then I kind of just clipped off the edge. Now this is actually going to go, if you can envision this direction. I'm going to drill a hole through the side, and then this will be in there, and that's going to be the handle. All right. And then I recut the ones that were 24 inch, and as you saw yesterday, I messed up by trying to drill the hole and making it even. So since I had to take them out, my suggestion, before you put them in the base, before you put them in there and secure it, go ahead and line them up here and drill your hole straight through so there's no space in there, and you're absolutely sure that you get it even, and that bolt will slip through. And I don't know if I've mentioned the right size of the bolt that I got, but it's a 3/4 inch paddle bit that I'm using to drill the hole. So I guess that makes it a 3/4 inch bolt, but it is 10 inches long. So, all right, there you go. Let me get these things all cut up, and I'll get the base put back together, and I'll catch up with you. Okay, so it looks like I was using a 5/8 paddle bit. I don't know. You want to get a bolt like that. Now I screwed up. I ended up getting a carriage bolt, is what I think these are called. You want an actual bolt where it's got a hex head on it or something like that, so you can grab onto it. I'm just going to have to kind of make do. I'm not going to take it back. I'm sure I can get it tight enough, and I'll just notch out the hole a little bit to get that piece in there, maybe. I don't know. But just pay attention when you go. I obviously didn't pay that much attention, so there we go. And if you remember, I said that this needs to be 4.5 inches, and I said you could use, oh, that hurt. You could use 3 pieces of scrap because it equals that 4.5 inches. Don't just measure and think you've got that 4.5. Go ahead and use these three pieces of scrap, and I will show you why when I put the main portion together, why you have to why it really needs to be that spacing. So keep that in mind, and I'll show you in a little bit. All right, so let me walk you through what I've got here. These are the 2 pieces that I was talking about that I forgot about in the beginning, and actually there's 2 more pieces that I forgot about, and that's actually for the seat. So just keep all this stuff in mind. I'll try and put everything in the description or the comments, whatever, because I did miss a couple things. So I think it was 17.5. Now for the handle, I measured down 3 inches into the center. I went ahead and clamped these together so that they would be the same. Even though they're on opposite sides, it's really not going to be that big a deal. And these are the dowels. I cut them to 12 inches, and they're going to fit just in there like that. I'm going to come in. I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill into this, because I don't know if this is going to split. I don't think this will, but either way, then I'm going to put one of these 3-inch screws all the way through there. See if that fits. Yeah, that should be good enough to hold it in place. It's not like it's going to be going at high speeds or anything. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put these in, and I'll get those all together. And then what they're going to do is they are going to go in here. And then I'll show you what I'm going to measure. And we're going to take a scrap piece just as a filler that's going to go here, and that is essentially what the bolt is going to go through that went here. So it's going to set in here, okay? I don't know, that might have been a lot, but stay with me. Okay, so I think you can kind of see what I'm getting at if I wasn't explaining things very well. I tried to get these as much in the center as I could. A little bit off, it doesn't really matter. Now for the seat, I'm going to measure From here to here, I'm going to do 14 inches. And then the seat is probably going to be about 16 inches. Now, I'm just going to use a piece of wood. You could cover it in some waterproof kind of material, but I'm here in Florida, and I guarantee anytime the grandkids go out to use this, it's going to be scorching hot, and we're going to put a towel down anyway. So for the time being, I'm not going to do any padding on the seat. We'll just use a towel, and if that's not good enough, I'll come back and add something later. But we're almost done, but it is starting to rain on me again, so I'm going to have to take a breather, and I'll be back. Alright, sorry my videos get long. I do a lot of talking. I know I repeat myself. This is the last update before it's completed, but I just drilled out the hole in the middle here. This is going to be for the bolt, and then I'm going to put that over here and put the bolt, and then we're all set. And I will try to remember to put a list of everything, all the sizes of everything, in the description. Hang around. There it is, 100% complete. And what I used for the seat is a 1x6, and I cut it 16 inches. I just put 4 screws in there. Definitely sturdy enough. If it comes apart, it's really easy to repair. Like I said, I'm not going to put a pad on there because we're probably going to just use towels, keep it simple. That way we take the towels in, it won't get rained on, blah, blah, all of that. I will tell you, when you go to tighten down this bolt, don't just crank it down, or obviously it's going to be too tight and it's not going to seesaw. So you don't want to leave it too loose, I guess, but that's it. There it is. I don't have anybody to seesaw with right now, so you're just gonna have to check it out for yourself. But there you go. It's my homemade seesaw. Super easy. If you make it, let me know how it goes, and yeah, tell me if you like this kind of stuff. See you on the next one.